Assalamu alaikum and peace. This is your brother Bilal Abdullah Mujahid checking back in, Black Muslim in America. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for tuning in once again. And let's get right into it. I know you all heard about the shooting by now that happened in Buffalo, New York at the Tops supermarket slash grocery store. And, it's not surprising to me at this point. We've been dealing with this type of terrorism and white supremacy for 400 plus years in America as foundational Black Americans. So we pretty much know what to expect. And it seems like now they're really turning up on us. You're starting to see more and more terrorist actions by these white supremacists happening more often. You just had this one. Before that, we had Kyle Rittenhouse, and you'll say he shot white people, but he was wanting to shoot Black people if you really do the research on the case. Then before that, we had Dylan Roof, and we had some more before that. Even in, other countries like New Zealand, they had a shooting go down at a masjid. So this is something that is happening more and more, and it seems like they're turning up. But why, though? Well, first off, white supremacy itself needs a people to dominate. That's how it pretty much defines itself. And the people that they, I guess, have chosen to be the de facto marker of if their white supremacy is strong are Black Americans, foundational Black Americans specifically. And they do this by, well, if the Black people of America are downtrodden and they're not getting anywhere, then white supremacy is strong. But if these Black people start getting more power, stop being downtrodden, then white supremacy is seen as weak. And therefore, they must do something about it to make sure it remains strong, which is one reason why we see these shootings. And it's also, other reasons why we see other things, systematic white supremacy going on in all factors of life, because they have to make sure that we are downtrodden. We are the marker for that. Another reason that I see that they're turning up, doing more terrorist acts, is because their numbers are getting low. They're not having as many children as they used to have. They're also getting into the opioid epidemic. They're also just dying off. Also, as well, committing suicide at high rates. Also, as well, they're getting involved into the LGBT stuff. So when they see their numbers getting low, they're fearful because how are we going to dominate? We have to continue to dominate these people and make sure that they're low on the totem pole or the last on the totem pole. This puts fear in their hearts because as Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wrote in her book, ISIS Papers, the white supremacy comes from the fear of white genetic annihilation. So when they see that their numbers are getting low, that fear is ever more increased. And this is one thing mentioned in his long, over 100-page manifesto, the shooter. This is what he mentioned in his manifesto, that their numbers are getting low. So he was talking about his fear of that, his fear of genetic annihilation. And while you have all these things going on, foundational Black Americans are getting more on code. And we see that the political process isn't helping us as it's supposed to help us, allegedly. So more and more foundational Black Americans are beginning to pull out of the political process and not vote at all. And the only way they will vote is if specific tangibles for foundational Black Americans are offered and given. The first up on the list is reparations. But even before that, we want a protected class status. Even before that, we need to pass an anti-Black hate crime bill. This is what we are pushing. So when they see all of these things going on and they see Black people gaining power, because let's not forget, when it popped off from the George Floyd uprisings, we started getting Police locked up Amber Geiger, the guy who knelt on George Floyd's neck. We got him locked up as well. This is very bad news to them, and they have to do something about it. Now, when their birth numbers are getting low, while that's going on, our birth rate is higher and more consistent. You know, many have bastard children outside of wedlock, and this is a place where Islam can guide people to the righteous path, being married. The first right a child has upon the parent is that it be born through marriage. But regardless of that, we are having more children than them, and this makes them very, very afraid, because they try to tell us that, you know, we're only 12% or 13% of the population. And I don't really believe that, because many of us don't do the census. And so when you have a population growing more than you at a better rate than you, this puts fear in your heart. When we start demanding reparations, and when that gets passed, inshallah, for us to get reparations, people are going to start documenting themselves, documenting their lineage, documenting their history. And we're going to find out that there are way more than 12% of the population of foundational Black Americans. Maybe it's going to be like 60 to 70 million, as mentioned by Tariq Nasheed. So this is something that's very concerning to them. This is why they push abortion on us. Right now, you see going on in the news that they're basically trying to ban abortion nationwide with the Roe versus Wade whole debacle, because they need their people to have more children. And they have to pass a law which makes it harder for them to exterminate their children. But while that's going on, we also must have to remember that white supremacy takes both sides of an argument. So on the other side, they're pushing upon Black people abortion. This is why you hear in the news that, oh no, this is a bad law they're trying to pass, because this is very much going to affect Black women, people of color, as they say. And it's funny because they use people of color. For instance, in this case with the abortion, they'll say people of color and then mark it down to Black people, Black women. But on the other hand, as I said, white supremacy takes both sides of the argument. They'll also use people of color when it's something specific about Black people, to then make it general and not give tangibles to Black people. So there's a problem of housing amongst Black people. They'll start saying, well, people of color have a problem with housing. They're generalizing it. And then they'll give tangibles to other immigrant groups and not the founding. We'll get the very least of crumbs. This is also why they push, the whole LGBT thing on us more and more, because that is not a lifestyle. That is a death style. Because if you stay in that path, you're not going to have a lineage. So they push that on us as well. They have to, because they feel they need to even it out, so to speak. This goes back to me saying that they have to have a group to subjugate. So you have to be least population. You have to remain least in population. And so this shooter, he targeted Black people specifically. He mentioned that in his manifesto as well. We're the main problem to them, because as I've said, we're the marker for how strong white supremacy is. And also because we have Black balls, the most dominant gene, and they are afraid of genetic annihilation. So this shooter targeted Black people, but the news media won't say that, because they can't say that. Because if we focus more on Black people and Black issues, then they'll have to be given things. It'll be, exposed that, damn, they do have to get tangibles. So they have to keep making it about something else. So now you hear them in the news talking about, the replacement theory. And I'll touch on that a little bit, as we go on. This is also a hate crime. This is an anti-black hate crime. If you read his manifesto, simply look at the gun he used, the weapon he used. It had nigger inscribed on the top of it on the front. It had number 14, which stands for the 14 words from, the Nazi belief. It had on the butt of the gun, here's your reparations. And then it had all other type of anti-black slurs. So this is a specific anti-black hatred crime. But they're not going to speak about that. Because once again, that would give us too much power if we were to get a anti-black crime hate bill. It would give us too much power, and they don't need that. At this time, no, we cannot have that. And so while I'm seeing all of this going on, it occurs to me that, they want to do foundational Black Americans like the people of the ditch. If you're a Muslim and you read the story of the people of the ditch in the Quran, if you're not, you can look up that story as well. But basically, during, that time, there was a king who was oppressive to the people. He wasn't a Muslim. And many of the people weren't Muslim, and they went along with it, worshiping this king. He demanded worship from them. And so there arose out of those people a righteous man. Allah gave him miracles to do. He couldn't be killed for a time. And eventually, it became so bad that the king couldn't kill him, and everybody's starting to become Muslims. He said, okay, how can I kill you? And so the young boy told the king, the only way you can kill me is if you kill me by saying, I killed this young boy in the name of Allah. That is the only way you're going to be able to kill me. And so the king said, damn, I need to get him out of here. So, let me go ahead and do this to kill him. And so the king says, by the will of Allah, I killed this young boy, and the young boy dies. But the problem is, after that boy sacrificed himself, the whole people of the town saw he was only able to kill him by the name of Allah. And so they realized Islam is the truth. And all of the people accepted Islam. So the exact opposite happened of what the king wanted to happen. He wanted him to die, and then, people start falling off the deen again. But the opposite happened. And so now the king is worried about his power, because La ilaha illallah is the most political statement you can make. This is why you have issues going on. Where is it at? In Paris, France, or something like that, where they're banning hijabs. They're banning hijabs globally as well. Because to say La ilaha illallah means that I'm going to submit only to Allah and his messenger, their laws, their rulings. If it coincides with some of your rulings, cool. If you give me freedom, I'll practice my freedom to the extent that I can to practice my religion. But I live by the laws of Allah. And so this is what the king knew. And so he decided to kill all of the people of that nation. He dug a huge ditch and, lit it on fire and made them jump into the ditch. He killed them all. And this is what I think is what's going on now, because Black people are pulling out of the political process, politics. It's warfare without bloodshed, but it can become bloodshed. But it's politics. Once you start pulling out of the political process, they know that their power is dwindling, and their whole point is to keep you subjugated. They need you to be a part of their system, so you're still fooled about it. So we're pulling out of that, and they're getting even more worried. And this is why he wrote on the butt of the gun, here's your reparations. Because reparations is something political. It's about political power and economic power. So you want your reparations, or you trying to get power. Here it is right here, blah, blah, blah. And this is why I see it as the people of the ditch, because essentially at the end of the day, what they want to do is kill off all foundational Black Americans. That is the end point. They want it to be an all out warfare, genocidal, shoot them up against foundational Black Americans, Just let's just end this. That's what they're saying. Let's just end this. I'm tired of it. They keep wanting more and more. They're having more babies than us. We're not having children. It's time to just end this. That is what they're saying. And you have, once again, white supremacy takes both sides of the argument. Those are the ones on the extreme right, I would say. On the extreme left, you have your liberals and Democrats who want to kill you off, but they want to do it with cake. They want to put the poison inside of the cake and do it slowly. So what you see now is the fight between that, and it's starting to show that the right side is starting to push back more and do more because they're tired of it. It's time to be done with these people. And this is why I compare it to the people of the ditch. As I've said, La ilaha illallah is the highest form of politics. And even in his manifesto, he mentions Muslims, he mentions Islam. He mentions Arabs specifically as a race. And he talks about how there are a few other races like the Asian type race, the Arab race that could be considered racially white. Now, he said that the Asians, they may not be ethnically white, but we can work with them because of their high intelligence. And essentially, they're not trying to dominate our culture. We can work hand in hand with them, but they shouldn't live in our country. But on the other hand, he has the Arabs, the white Arabs. He's like, well, they can be considered racially white, but they can never be truly white because of Islam. Islam, the religion, has been sent to dominate all other ways of life, even though the disbelievers may hate it. So he said also he also said that, so we can't coexist with these people. We might be able to coexist with the Asians, but we can't coexist with these people who have Islam as their religion. So they need to be exterminated at the same time as black people. Allah sent the deen down to give you power, to give you honor, to give you respect, to bring about justice in the world. This is why it's a powerful way of life. It is sent from Allah. So that is one of the major things. If you're a black Muslim, you need to be on point in your deen, and you need to be on code as well with the other black people of your nation to end this oppression of white supremacy. The greatest evil in the world right now is white supremacy. There's no way as a Muslim, whether you're black or any other race, that your main concern after becoming a Muslim is doing your part to eradicate white supremacy, because it will free you up to practice your religion. But you see many come over here and they get under the banner of white supremacy. This is why you hear many stories of black Muslims who have racist episodes in the Muslim community. They have decided to get and submit under white supremacy. That's the problem. You have to truly be on deen to combat white supremacy because, as I've said before, white supremacy is Satanism. The only way you're going to defeat the army of Satan is by being the army of Allah. But I was talking about his manifesto as well. And in his manifesto, he starts talking about the replacement theory. And this is what you're hearing a lot now in the news. And this is how they're trying to deflect away from passing an anti-black crime hate bill. They're focusing more on the replacement theory. And it's my summation, it's my opinion that I think they're also doing this to eventually put it on top of black people, foundational black Americans. Because foundational black Americans, we want our reparations, and we're doing it through race and lineage. And we also have the understanding that bringing in all these immigrants is meant to replace us. Like the movie Us is meant to replace us. So what they're going to do in the media, in my prediction, is that they're going to start saying, oh my, you black people, y'all have the same beliefs as the replacement theory. That all these people are coming to replace you. You're no better than the white terrorist. And this is how they will demean us before attacking us. They have to make us into terrorists before attacking us so that it won't seem that bad, because the word on the globe to be able to oppress and kill your people at will is to claim they're terrorists. If you see every nation across the globe, when they say somebody's a terrorist and they start massacring them, everybody turns a blind eye to it. So that's the code word they want to put on us. They've been trying to put black identity extremists on us for a while now, ever since we found out about it coming out. And they say, oh, that's just a myth. That I don't know why that was put out. That's not true. But we know it's true. They've been trying to put that on us for a minute now, but we've been fighting back by getting ahead of the narratives. So this is what they're going to use on us, the replacement theory, and then put it on us through those means. As well as, I know y'all saw that Kevin Samuels recently died. And it seems mysterious how he died to me. But he was pushing, and I really don't rock with Kevin Samuels. I listen to The Business. I like that because that's more of the foundation of where Kevin Samuels was getting all his information, and he was messing it up anyway. He was calling towards, interracial dating, and he was calling towards coon people. So he was messing it up. But what he was pushing was the mentality of black men getting on code. Black men getting their households, their women in order. You may not like how that sounds, but that's what it is. And in this white guy's manifesto, the shooter, he was talking about, how the women basically, he was saying it in little coded ways about how the white women aren't really submitting to them. And so they have to do these aggressive acts to make the white women bow down to their power and submit to them. So this is another aspect that they're going to try to put on us. See, these white terrorists have problems with white women. Oh, no, just like black men in America have problems with their black women. See, and they're trying to get them in order. And so are the black men. They're just the same. They're going to put that on us. And I see it happening. That was my prediction, and I see it happening because you had Brittany Cooper come out, Professor Crump, I think that's her name or something like that. She made a tweet that said, so while I was not attempting to compare black men to Peyton Gendron, the shooter, when I made a flippant response to a friend's post on here, I absolutely mean what I say about the internet radicalization of black men. Y'all not become mass shooters, but you're still a possible threat. That sentence was trash. She probably was saying, y'all may not become massive shooters or something like that, but you're still a possible threat. They're talking about this internet radicalization. What they're referring to is The Business. What they're referring to is Kevin Samuels, that whole mentality. Because they're saying that was a part of what radicalized the white shooter. And they're going to say, well, this is something that's going on in the black communities as well. And they're worried about being replaced, too. Don't forget that. So you're going to see that be put on us even more so. These are my predictions of what's going to happen. And as I've said, they're doing all of that because the end result of what they want is the people of the ditch. That's the end result they want. They want you to believe that no replacement of any kind is going on. Just turn a blind eye to all these immigrants we're bringing in. Because if you start talking about you're being replaced, you might be a terrorist. So they're doing that as well to silence us so that we can't speak about that part of what's really going on. And, last but not least, we have to stop this forgiveness talk in the media. After the shooting, they're already going on their forgive tour, asking those old niggas, as Jason Black says, they're going up to them and asking them, well, what he did was horrible. The bodies aren't even cold yet. What he did was horrible, but do you think you can find it in your heart to forgive? And then some old coon lady talking about she got silent. I have to. And then when she said it, you could see in her eyes that she's like, damn, he caught me. I don't want to forgive him. You don't have to forgive him. The first thing you should be seeking is justice. Even if you believe sincerely in your heart, in your religion of Christianity, that no matter how evil somebody does to you, you have to forgive them. To be on code with black people of America, you don't have to say that. You could say, look, I'm not worried about that right now. What I'm worried about is getting justice for these people who've just got killed. What I'm worried about right now is getting justice for Black Americans. And this is why we need an anti-Black crime bill, anti-Black hate crime bill. When you do that, interview over. But you need to get that message out there and be on code. All this forgive talk is a no-no, because that's going to allow them to get him off. They can just claim he's insane and put him in some insane asylum and he gets to chill. He was mentioning in his manifesto that he hope he does get to stay alive even if he goes to jail, because he hopes that white supremacy will take over and do what it needs to do in massacring the Black people of America, and then they'll come get him out and he'll be a hero. And then he said, well, if that doesn't happen and I die and waste away in jail, then I see that my people are weak and they're probably going to be replaced. So this is what it is. You can't be out here saying forgive. It's not time for that. It's time for justice. But, that's all I wanted to say, people. Just hit you upside your head with something to ponder upon. Inshallah, I'll come back with another video in the future, inshallah. And, that's it. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Black Muslim in America. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share. This has been Black Muslim in America with your host, Bilal Abdullah Mujahid. And peace. Assalamu alaikum.